Okay, finally, let's talk about the pros and cons of free ranging our chickens. This is the first time I have sat down in like over a week because Hank and I have been diligently working on this chicken yard. You can see Don Juan's new coop over there, and I have a new Americana coop right here. These are all the things that have been happening around here, and these are the reasons why I haven't been posting as frequently the last week. I really sincerely appreciate your patience. Okay, so when it comes to free ranging, I understand that most of us have a really sort of moral mindset to it where it's better for the chickens. They get to be free, they get to forage for all of the fresh bugs. And while I really understand that, I think that there's really a lot of benefits to keeping chickens in a safe and closed space as well. Some of the benefits of free ranging are that chickens can choose the places where they dust bathe. Chickens really do well to dust bathe and like sandy, like natural sandy spaces, because usually there are nutrients, there are things in the soil, in the natural sand that the chickens can use to clean themselves, and is much more efficient than like play sand or something that we're buying bagged up at the hardware store. Usually from like a homeopathic perspective, most of the things that we need to cure ourselves are within the environment. Additionally, access to all of the sunlight is really beneficial to our chickens' health, their overall health, and their ability to clean themselves and sunbathe. Of course, the opportunity to forage for all of the bugs in the environment is really excellent for our chickens, and not just bugs, but berries and grass, and also the rocks within the soil. Chickens who free range don't need to be given any type of grit because they are going to be pecking at and consuming little teeny rocks from the soil anyways, and that will help break down any food in their crops. Chickens can be really good pest control if we have issues with ticks and mosquitoes. Of course, you have to have like a lot of chickens, and I've heard guineas are really good for this too. So free range chickens can be beneficial for us too, but also you got to be mindful of all of the poop that they are going to leave everywhere, including on decks, tools, vehicles, everywhere you don't want them to be. Actually, my husband compared my free range roosters today to goats, and that's bad. There really are many benefits to free ranging our chickens for their overall health, for pest control, but with that being said, I've got to share that the worst parasite issues I've had with my chickens, I'm talking with lice and also with internal parasites. The first time I ever noticed roundworms in the feces of my chickens was in free range flocks, because they are pecking everywhere and all of the poop from all of the animals. And also, really, they are at much more of a biosecurity risk. I mean, there's always some sort of a biosecurity risk from wild birds. So really, you're never truly safe. However, your free range birds are going to come into much more contact, potentially, with wild birds and all of the pathogens that they bring to the table. They are also at a greater risk to things like dog attacks, hawk attacks. Predators are always going to go for what's easiest, and that's always going to be the free range birds as opposed to the cooped up birds. If we have adequate spacing and nice big open runs for our chickens, it's really not terrible for them to be penned up as well. First, for our chickens who are in adequately spaced, adequately sized runs and coops, we are better able to protect them from predator attacks, hawks, raccoons, dogs, like the list goes on and on. We are better able to protect them from pathogens coming in from wild birds, although it depends on how big the wire is on your chicken coop. If you're using that 1/4 inch hardware cloth, great. If you're using livestock fencing like I do, there are birds theoretically that could fly in through there and get to your feeders. Although I haven't actually seen that in my runs, it is a possibility. From a breeding standpoint, of course, using runs is really efficient because we need to keep our breeds pure and to house certain hens with certain roosters, and free ranging, everything is out of control. Now, it does seem though that one thing that could be done if you are breeding and you want to let your birds free range is you could let different breeds out on different days of the week or whatever and just kind of rotate them so everybody gets a chance to free range. And a lot of breeders will do this. Personally, I like to just use dirt floors in my run, and I allow the floors to just kind of mimic the forest floor as much as possible. So even though my birds are penned up and they're safe from predators and I can keep my breeds separate, they're still getting nice clean dirt baths, and they're still able to peck around and forage for bugs in the soil as though they were free ranging. I can also tell you that we have built a lot of different chicken houses over the years, and I really prefer the design of these with all this big open space out there as opposed to these chicken runs where I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 runs all next to each other. I'm actually trying to phase out my breeder flocks from this big chicken coop because I like the runs to be nice and open all around. I don't like how these runs are all right next to each other and chickens are just stacked on top of each other in here. I very much prefer in my chicken runs for my chickens to get fresh airflow from as many sides as possible. The only predator problems that I have seen inside my runs with chickens have been snakes and rats, and they only get to the youngest chickens. I have had snakes try and eat chickens that were too big for them and fully engulf their neck and then spit them back out, which was terrible. And I have had rats come in with younger chickens, and usually the way that I know that it's rats is they will disembowel the chicken and eat out parts of the chicken and then leave it behind. And I'm saying chicken, but I mean chick, like young chicks. With my silkies and my bantam calico cochins, honestly, I can open the door for them. I can open both doors of these coops and none of these chickens even attempt to go outside. I am convinced that it's because they know that they are safe and provided for in that space. They have enough space in the soil where they are able to dust bathe and forage almost as though they were free ranging. And that really is the trick. Also, honestly, around here, it got to the point where if one more chicken pooped on our front or back porch, I think my husband was going to be to the point where he was like, that's it, I'm done. No more chickens. You know, the other thing that I forgot to mention earlier is like, don't think that you can keep chickens in or around a garden or anywhere where you're planting seeds, because those chickens will eat up those plants and eat up those seeds in a heartbeat.